Ella's Study Notes, where advanced English meets real-life magic.
All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're not just going to talk about Elon Musk's latest, audacious plan. We're actually going to dissect the really powerful, high-level business language that The Economist uses to describe it. Think of this less as a news report and more like a masterclass in how you talk about huge risks, big vision, and what's really on the line. Okay, let's dive right in. So, what's this all about? Well, Musk wants to merge SpaceX, his rocket company, with xAI, his artificial intelligence lab. And the goal he stated? It's straight out of science fiction. He wants to extend the light of consciousness to the stars, which involves, believe it or not, putting data centers up in space. We're talking about a massive cosmic-level ambition here. Now, the story itself is pretty wild, right? But what we're really going to focus on today is the language of power. I mean, how do you even begin to frame a business gamble of this size? The vocabulary we're about to see isn't just for describing things. It's really a toolkit for anyone who needs to communicate when the stakes are incredibly high. Okay, so let's start with how the article frames the enormous financial confidence and the risk behind this entire venture. It's not just about the numbers. It's about the whole psychology of this massive investment. Right out of the gate, The Economist gives us this fantastic term that really gets to the heart of why investors have so much confidence in Musk. It's not just trust in the idea, it's trust in the guy's incredibly deep pockets. And this phrase, the Elon backstop, well, it is just packed with meaning. So the power of a word like backstop is that it signals an ultimate safety net. In baseball, it's the wall behind the catcher that stops a wild pitch. In finance, it's the absolute last line of defense. So by applying it to Musk personally, the article is basically saying his own fortune is the final guarantee, which makes a ridiculously risky venture feel, well, kind of secure. So how can you use a word like this? Well, instead of just saying, the founder's money helped the startup, you could say something much sharper, like, the founder's wealth served as a crucial backstop during its first year. See how that just adds a layer of strategic depth? It's concise, it's professional, and shows you really get the underlying dynamics of risk. Okay, let's keep going because this just keeps building. The article uses these incredibly powerful, contrasting words to paint a picture of the two companies at the center of this deal. This is really the art of high-impact comparison. I mean, this sentence is just brilliant. It lays out the entire conflict perfectly in just a few words. First, notice that verb, saddling. Like you're putting a heavy, heavy burden on a prize-winning horse. And then you get this perfect opposition, these two perfect descriptions for the companies. So this contrast is just so stark, and that's the point. Money spinning sounds effortless, right? Almost magical, like a machine that just prints cash. And then on the other side, you have the simple, brutal reality of loss making. The article isn't just giving us facts, it's telling us a story of a hero and a potential burden. And here's what money spinning looks like in the real world. According to the article, SpaceX launched about 4,000 satellites in 2025. That's a staggering 85% of all satellites launched globally. That is what market dominance looks like. That is a champion. Now let's flip to the other side of that quote, laggard. It's such a powerful word. It doesn't just mean new or not profitable yet. No, it has this real feeling of being behind, of failing to keep up in a race. It frames xAI not just as a startup, but as an underdog that's already trailing the competition. And you can use this to create a really strong narrative in your own work. You could say something like, while our competitors were rolling out new features every quarter, our company was becoming an innovation laggard. It's such an effective way to hammer home a performance gap. Okay, so we've got this grand vision, we've got this high contrast merger. So naturally, not everybody's convinced. Let's look at the language the article uses to capture both the sheer scale of the ambition and, all the skepticism that's swirling around it. So the article goes right at the critics, but look at the word it uses. It doesn't just say they disagreed or criticized him. No, it uses a much more vivid and dismissive verb. To scoff at something, that's to dismiss it with contempt. It means you think the idea is just ridiculous, maybe even foolish. It really captures the emotional tone of the criticism, not just the logical argument. It's a verb that carries some serious weight and attitude. This is such a powerful verb to have in your back pocket. Imagine saying the board scoffed at the junior executive's proposal. It just paints this vivid picture of dismissive arrogance, a total lack of faith. That's so much more impactful than just saying they rejected it. All right, let's bring this all home. Using the language we've just learned, we can now fully appreciate what the article is saying about the ultimate stakes in this massive, massive gamble. First, let's just talk about the scale. The merged company is apparently aiming for a public listing with a valuation of at least $1.5 trillion. That's a lofty sum, as the article points out, even for Elon Musk. The ambition is just astronomical. And there it is. The consequences of failure. In jeopardy. That phrase just highlights how precarious this whole thing is. It's not that one company might fail, the entire empire is at risk. It's either going to be a colossal success or a potential collapse. And this is really the final, powerful summary from the article. It acknowledges his whole history of grand plans and all the doubters, but it makes it clear, this time, the risk is completely unprecedented. This one sentence perfectly captures the monumental scale of this bet. So after breaking down all this language, what's the takeaway? Is Musk using his personal backstop for a visionary move that people will one day stop scoffing at? Or is he saddling his money-spinning champion with a loss-making laggard that puts his whole empire in jeopardy? The language doesn't give us the answer, but it gives us a much, much richer way to ask the question.